Grip socks are great, and now they're even better with Pure Grip Socks Pro. Better fit, moisture wicking, amazing comfort, and all the extra grip you need. Choose from 10 different colors for just $16.99 a pair at puregripsocks.com.
So, you're on the market for a pair of speed boots and you've gone over all of the incredible options that are currently available and have settled on something with 3 stripes. You now have another decision to make. Do you go laceless or laces? Or to be a little bit more specific, do you go for the X Speedflow Plus, the laceless option, which bears a retail price of $275, although this special Adizero Prime X colorway retails for $5 more? Or do you go, dare I say, the more traditional route with the X Speedflow .1, a football boot that retails for $25 less at $250? Neither of them are cheap, so I don't think price should be that much of a determining factor, but when it comes to feel and certain performance characteristics, there are some significant differences between these two, albeit both of them are excellent options, but depending on what you're looking for, one might be significantly better for you. I'm going to explain exactly what those differences are in today's video as we take a closer look at both boots, including how they fit and feel on feet. So if you're interested in learning more, please stick around, watch the entire comparison, and if you are interested in either of these boots for yourself, while expensive, you can get them for a little bit less by checking out the review page on my website, which will be the first link down below. On that page, you'll find buy it now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes to pick up either of these boots below their normal retail prices. As always, if you guys do end up enjoying the video and perhaps want to see more comparisons on the channel, please don't forget to support this one with a like and let me know which boots you'd like to see compared next down below in the comment section. Also guys, I have a goal of hitting 750,000 subscribers on this channel by the end of the year. So for those of you that watch the videos regularly but maybe aren't subscribed, it would mean the world to me if you could hit that subscribe button along with the little bell notification so you get notified when the next new video goes live. Regardless of whether you go for the Plus or .1 model, you're going to find the exact same speed frame base, which is a plastic sole plate with an external heel counter, but perhaps more importantly is this carbon fiber insert through the forefoot made by a company called Carbitex that provides a tremendous amount of kind of energy return, if you will, every time you bend your foot. So for a toe off when sprinting, you're gonna notice that little bit of spring back effect from the sole plate that you really aren't going to get from any other football boot. Something like a Mercurial does something similar, but not quite to this extreme. It also has a little bit of a raised toe, which kind of puts you on your toes a little bit more, and in general, kind of has that sprinter spike vibe to it. The FG stud pattern is more aggressive than what we've seen on a lot of Adidas football boots, I would say over the last decade, provides plenty of bite when pushing off, and is definitely geared towards being more of a bladed stud pattern rather than kind of the triangular base studs that we've seen on a lot of Adidas boots as of late. It's not quite as aggressive as the Mercurials, but it comes pretty darn close, and as an overall package, whether you go for the Plus or the .1, I think the sole plate and stud pattern is top notch. When it comes to speed boots, I think the weight matters, especially when it comes to the feel that boot is going to have on offer. So the question is, which one is lighter? Both in a size 9.5 US. We'll start off with the Speedflow Plus. You can see they weigh in at 6.8 ounces, the equivalent of 192 grams. Change the scale back to ounces, and we'll throw on the Speedflow .1, and you can see that they weigh in at 7.1 ounces, the equivalent of 201 grams, which if you were paying attention is the equivalent of 0.3 ounces or 9 grams in favor of the laceless model, which is that little bit lighter. Is it an amount of weight that you're actually going to be able to feel on your feet? Not necessarily. I think the bigger difference between these two is what we're about to talk about, and that is the on-foot fit and feel. But for the record, both of these boots are really light. This is the element that really has the biggest impact on the overall experience that these two boots have on offer. If you are a traditionalist and you just like having laces on your boots, which I, up until this point, have been exactly that person, then I think you're definitely going to prefer the Speedflow 0.1. With the lacing system, it gives you that adjustability. It allows you to make your boots a little bit tighter, a little bit looser. There's a customization aspect to it. And when we're talking about peak performance characteristics in terms of lockdown and overall responsiveness, because you have a lacing system that you can fasten and be completely locked in, it just makes everything about this version of the Speedflow feel that much more secure. With that said, the laceless design of the Speedflow Plus is incredibly impressive. I will go on record and say that this is the greatest laceless football boot ever made. It's a football boot that feels like the future. And of course, being laceless, you lose out on adjustability. So everyone's experience is going to be a little bit different based on how well this upper matches the shape of your foot. For me personally, I was so impressed with the fit, and it's genuinely the first pair of laceless football boots that I could play in and not constantly think, wow, these would be so much better if they had laces. The laceless system is very, very simple. You can see it's a prime knit material that is reinforced on the top layer with a single layer of this really thin polyurethane material, but it seems to do the job in terms of providing enough structure to where, this being a top-end speed boot, it doesn't feel like it's lacking in terms of responsiveness or even in regards to lockdown. And they have changed up the heel liner to this kind of slightly rougher, almost Velcro type texturing, which does a pretty good job of helping to grip your socks and lock your heel in place. And again, the peak performance characteristics of this boot in terms of lockdown and responsiveness are not as good as the 0.1 model, but the difference is not as extreme as you would expect it to be, especially when you're comparing other laced and laceless options within the Adidas brand. This, from an experience standpoint, because of the laceless design, is just so special and unlike anything else that I've ever worn. When it comes to everything around the fastening system, the uppers are actually different on these two football boots, where on the 0.1 model, you're definitely going to find that the upper has a little bit more of a pliable feel to it, meaning that it seems to be less structured, if that makes any sense. It just moves more naturally, it flexes more easily, and almost has a little bit of softness to it, even though there is absolutely no padding to this upper at all. If you're looking for that raw barefoot feel, you're getting it from the 0.1, you're gonna get it from the Plus model as well. But I think the biggest difference is that the 0.1 model feels more pliable and maybe even has this almost elastic quality to it that is quite unique. And from a comfort standpoint, out of all the super thin speed boots out there, I would argue that this is the most comfortable of the bunch. Where the upper on the Speedflow Plus is more textile based, so it does have a little bit more of a knitted component to it, but it also feels that little bit more rigid in that it doesn't have that slightly stretchy elastic quality to it, and I'm assuming that's by design because of the laceless system. Nonetheless, the touch on the ball is incredibly pure, and because of the laceless design, I think it does make for this not wearing any shoes at all type sensation that I've never experienced from any other pair of football boots. I think that to me is the specialness of the touch on this ball, the fact that it is laceless and the upper just feels completely seamless across your entire foot. But again, if you're looking for that barefoot feel, you're going to get a really good sensation from both of these football boots. So here they are on feet, where I must say they both look really good, especially in this colorway paired up with Royal Blue Pure Grip Socks Pro, available at puregripsocks.com for anyone that's interested, link in the description. But there is a distinct difference between the two when it comes to overall fit and feel. Of course, being that these both have the exact same speed frame sole plate, you have the same base shape between them. But what you're going to find is that the laceless model has a little bit of a sleeker, slimmer silhouette to it that ultimately does fit your foot more tightly. But again, it doesn't have the adjustability aspect to it. So that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to fit tighter on your feet. You might get a tighter fit out of the 0.1 because of the ability to tighten the upper by way of the lacing system. But certainly in terms of width and volume, there is more to be found here on the Speedflow 0.1. Plus you get the adjustability factor, which is why I think for most people, this is going to be the better fitting and arguably more comfortable football boot. But if you can get the right fit out of the Speedflow Plus, it really does have this special feel to it in regards to the feel on feet as well as the touch on the ball. It's an experience that I've never had from a pair of football boots. But again, in terms of overall comfort, I think the Speedflow 0.1 in the speed category in general, it is a top-notch option. One of the most comfortable speed boots that I can remember in the last couple years. As far as width is concerned, I think if you have really wide feet, you're probably going to be better off with the 0.1. I would avoid laceless boots in general if you have any kind of extreme end of the spectrum shapes to your feet. But I think both of these will ultimately end up fitting most people. Again, the quality of the fit will vary quite significantly with the Speedflow Plus. And as far as sizing is concerned, I'm wearing both of these boots in my usual size 9.5 US. So whether you decide to go for the laceless or the lace model, going true to size is what I would strongly recommend. So in conclusion, unless you just absolutely hate laceless football boots, this is not an easy decision. Like I talked about throughout this video, I think when you're talking about what is objectively the better football boot from a fit, lockdown, and responsiveness perspective, certainly the Speedflow 0.1 is technically better than the Speedflow Plus, and it's also $25 less expensive if that means anything to you. I'll even go as far as to say that I think the majority of people would fit better in the Speedflow 0.1, and because of that would end up preferring it given the option to try both of these boots before buying. With that said, if you have been thinking about giving laceless football boots a try and you're a fan of boots that are super thin, offering that barefoot feel on the ball, I would urge you to definitely consider the Speedflow Plus, because from an experience standpoint, not only is it maybe a little bit more special than the Speedflow 0.1, which is a pretty special boot in itself, it is unlike any other product that I've ever had on my feet. So given the choice between the two, while logic would tell me to pick the Speedflow 0.1, even for my feet that fit quite well in the Speedflow Plus, I just love the unique experience that the laceless model had on offer. So it would be my pick out of the two, but I don't necessarily think that's the best advice for everybody, which I guess makes this comparison quite confusing. Anyways, guys, that's it for this one. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to support it with a like. Again, if you're interested in either of these boots for yourself, links to the review page can be found down below in the description. If you have any questions, as always, feel free to ask them down below in the comment section. If you're new here and aren't subscribed to the channel, it would mean the world to me if you could hit that subscribe button along with the little bell notification so you get notified when the next new video goes live. You can find all my social media information linked down below in the description as well. And other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.